Hello, so we're on episode 2 of Get to the Point, where you ask a question and I try to answer it as quickly and to the point as possible. If you do have a question about deaf stuff, disability, mental health, abuse, really anything in general, just use the hashtag Get to the Point on Twitter. That is the only way I will see your questions, and if you don't use the hashtag, I won't see it. So today's question comes from Akalia, and it's do and don'ts for writing deaf characters, particularly as a hearing person. I've actually gotten this question a few times. I've had people email me about that, and I'm just gonna put this in a video because it's easier than like writing it out a bunch of times. I'm not really someone that's gonna be like only deaf people can write deaf characters. I'm not really someone that will say only deaf people should write deaf characters in a book, although I am very pro, you know, have deaf and disabled people tell their own stories and amplify those stories and share those stories. But I have read books about a deaf character written by a hearing person, which I have really enjoyed. What I will say is, first and foremost, probably get a deaf person to be involved in it with you. Maybe they don't have to like write it themselves, but at least really have a good conversation with them. But don't just get any like random deaf person that you find, or like you're the only deaf person that you know, because there's not all deaf people are the same, right? So if you're writing a mainstream deaf character, find a mainstream deaf character. If that person only voices, then find someone who only voices. If someone grew up mainstream but they use ASL and spoken language depending on the situation, find someone who uses both. Or if you wanted a mainstream deaf character who now uses ASL, try to find someone that fits that narrative. Or if you're writing about someone who grew up in a deaf family and a deaf school, only uses ASL. Or if you are writing about someone who grew up in a deaf family, only uses ASL or uses mostly ASL, went to a deaf school, find that type of person to help you out. Don't get someone like me to do that, because I don't fit that narrative. I fit more with that first narrative, right? There's also doing research on Google, find, you know, deaf people stories online in a video, written work, whatever, and try to pull from that. Watch other pieces like This Close that is on Sundance, because that is written by Shoshana Stern and Josh Feldman, who are both deaf, and it's their work and it's great, and you get genuine representation, and you can watch that and be comfortable knowing that you can take the mannerisms that you see and put that into your writing. And that's pretty much the main thing that I can think of, is always go right to the source and see if they can help you out. So that's my answer. Again, if you have a question, make sure to go to Twitter and use the hashtag Get to the Point. You don't necessarily have to tag me, but it does make it easier for me to find if you tag me. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you can do that at Rikki Poynter. Just my name. If you haven't already, consider being a pledge on Patreon. I'll have the link down below. You get certain perks depending on the monthly tier that you pledge to. It's a great way to support your favorite creators' content online. And if Patreon isn't your thing, then I do have a link down below to my coffee jar, so you're more welcome to use that if you so wish to. And I will see you later. Bye.